Hey everyone, how you doing? It's Mr. Outlaw, and let me ask you a question. Are you a high wattage vapor? Do you like to vape at 60, 80, 120, even 150 watts, and you can't find a tank that keeps up with you? I've got a solution for you. Today we're going to take a look at the TFv4 tank from Smok. This is an incredible tank with tons of coil options. They have tri-coils, quad coils, 6-coil, Clapton coils, every kind of temperature control coil you could think of, and they have 3 different types of RBA decks, including one that allows you to build Clapton coils. So let's get into it. Take a look at that. Hey everyone, how you doing? It's Mr. Outlaw, and today, like I said, we're going to take a look at the TFv4 from Smok or Smok, whatever you want to call them. I do want to start off this video apologizing though. I know I haven't had any videos up in the last couple months, but as you can see behind me, I've moved. I have a new home. We have a new office all to myself. And it's been a little hectic trying to get everything organized the way I want. Now, I do have a few things to contend with. Number one, this window behind me. And I'm also sharing my office with my African Gray. And if he starts chatting and talking, I apologize. He seems to only want to do it when I'm actually making a video. So I apologize for that up front. But I really wanted to get this video out. And you can see over here on the side of me, I have a lot of new products that we're going to be reviewing over the next couple weeks. We've got the DNA 200 from H Cigar. We've got the SX Mini ML class coming in. I've got the Smok X Cube 2. We're going to do that in the next few days. The EVIC VTC Mini. Great new products. It's going to be a fun holiday season, so make sure you hit that subscribe button down on the bottom for new content over the next couple of weeks. But like I said, today we're going to take a look at the TFv4. Now, I did receive this from a company up in New York called Origin Vape. I'll leave a link down in the description. It's originvape.com. And they are currently selling this for, it is $39.99. So, great price, especially considering everything you're going to get in this device. Now, like I said, this is a phenomenal tank. Whether you are a low wattage vapor like me, where you like to be anywhere between 20 and 40 watts, or if you're a high wattage vapor and you like to be 60, 80, 100, 120 watts. So it's got you covered. They've got 12 different coil options. So let's go over the coil options real quick before we get into the up close and personal. If you are a cloud chaser, they have 3 different coils for you. They have the TFT3, which is a tri-coil head made out of Kanthal. It goes anywhere between 40 watts and 130 watts for the best experience. It's 0.2 ohms. They have the TFQ4, which is a quad coil made with Kanthal. 100% VG juice, works really well, 0.15 ohms, and it works best between 40 and 140 watts. And then they have the one that I have in here, which is the TFX S6, which is a 6-coil head at 0.4 ohms, and it goes anywhere between a 30 to 100 watts. Now, I currently have this in here in the Smok X Cube 2. We're vaping it at 120 watts. Again, it's a 0.39. I have it set on the hard setting. And take a look at this. With just a 1-second puff, take a look at this. Lots of vapor, right? Take a look at a longer one, though. I have to tell you, I am not a high wattage vapor, but this makes 120 watts feel like 40. Incredible. It just keeps up with you no matter how much you vape, whether you want to do one vape every few minutes or one vape every hour, or you want to chain vape it, it keeps up. I haven't had a dry hit with it yet. Now back to the coils. We've got, if you're into temperature control, which is pretty much what I like, they've got the TFN2 Air, which is a nickel coil, dual coil. They've got 2 extra air holes on it. Temperature sensing. It's a 0.12 ohm plus or minus 0.02. They have the TFTI, which is a titanium dual coil head. 0.33 ohms, and then they have the TFSTC2, which is a dual coil stainless steel head, 0.25 ohms, and you can use that in either regular power mode or you can use it in temperature coil mode if you have a device like the DNA 200 or the X-Cube 2 that can handle stainless steel. Now, if you're a low wattage vapor like me, they have the TFT2, which is just a dual coil head. Works best between 20 and 45 watts. It's a 1.5 ohm coil. They have the TFT2 Air, which is a 1.5 ohm coil. It has 2 extra airflow holes for a better airflow and a cooler vapor. That as well as a dual coil. And they have the TFCLP2, which is a dual coil Clapton head. Gives you really good vapor. It's a 0.35 ohm, and it's best between 30 and 90 watts. Now, they also have the RBA series. They have 3 different RBA decks. One is going to come with this if you buy the full kit. It's the TFR1 single coil head. It's got a giant deck. It comes pre-installed with a coil. And I can tell you, I've hit that thing all the way up at 80 watts, and it keeps up just with the single coil. They have the TFR2, which is a dual coil head. You can buy that at a lot of shops. I believe Origin Vape does sell it. Off the top of my head, I think it was about $7, $8. It comes installed with a coil, and I'll show it to you in the up close and personal. And then they also have the TFRCA, which is a rebuildable Clapton coil head. It's a 4-post design for a single coil Clapton. Smaller airflow tip too comes with it for if you want a better throat hit. Now, let's take a look at some of the main features before we get into the up close and personal. I'm going to take one more vape here. Loving the flavor on this device. So anyway, like I said, if you buy the full kit, it comes in 2 options. You can either buy the standard kit or you can buy the full kit. I highly recommend you buy the full kit. It's about $10, $15 more, but it comes with a lot more features. You're going to get both the quad coil and the tri-coil head, and it also comes with the RBA deck for the single coil. Now, this is a 24.5 millimeter device, so on the larger devices like the X-Cube 2, you can see it looks really good. Now, when you put it onto some of your other devices like the SX Mini, I think it looks good. There is a slight overhang. I'll show you on the up close and personal, but it is a large device. It's 70 millimeters in height. Now, if you're not a fan of the 24 millimeter size, I've got good news for you. They're coming out with a mini version of this in the next couple weeks. It's a 22 millimeter device. As soon as I get mine, I'll throw up a video and compare the two for you so you can see the difference. Now, this does have a 5 milliliter e-liquid capacity, 510 threaded connection. Made out of stainless steel. It has a Pyrex glass tank, and if you buy the full kit, it comes with an extra glass tank. Top fill design. You have up on the top, you have a drip tip with an adjustable 4-slot airflow design. And then there are also 4 giant airflow slots on the bottom. Interchangeable coil heads. It's a double layered drip tip you can see there inside there. Like I said, it comes with the 3 different heads. Phenomenal tank. So I'm absolutely loving this tank. So let's dive down, get into the up close and personal. I'll show you all the different features. Then we'll come back up and I'll give you my pros and cons on it. Okay, so here is the box for the Smok TFv4. You can see on top, we have a top fill design. It comes with the tri-coil cloud machine. Over here on the side, it shows you all the different options that we're going to get here. I'll show you that way. It comes with the tri-coil, the quad coil, the RBA, and the extra glass tank, as well as some O-rings. Back here on the back, it's got a little bit of specifications. Up here on the top, there is a little scratch thing so that you can check your authenticity. Nothing on the bottom. Now we'll go ahead and we'll open it up. We see Smok here. Take it out. We have a little instruction manual. Kind of goes through everything, how to fill it. We have our tank here, and I only have one, so if it's a little wet, I apologize. That's just because I just kind of cleaned it out and emptied it out. Down here in the bottom, we have our little warranty card, spare glass tank. We have our 2 other heads, some cotton, a nice screwdriver. It comes with 2 vape bands. I have the other one in the other room, a white one and a black one, an extra fill ring, and some extra O-rings. Now, let's take a look at, before we get into the actual unit itself, we'll show you. This is the tri-coil head. Now, I have used this thing. We can get this to focus a little bit. So you can see here, We've got our 4 air holes, our 4 juice holes. We have one here, one here, one here, one here. So there's 4 holes there. We have 4 airflow holes, massive airflow holes. We have a nice sealing O-ring here for putting on the bottom, and you can see up there on the top you have your tri-coil. Okay, so that's your tri-coil. Then we'll come in here and we have our quad coil, and you can see, look at all of those juice holes. So you have 4 sets of 4. You have 1 set here, 1 set here, 1 set here, and 1 set here. 4 massive airflow holes down there on the bottom. And you can see up there on the top, it's 4 coils running in parallel. Now, while I have it out here, I'll take a look at here. We have, this is our NI 200 coil here. You can see here, TF, NI. This is just the TF. This is not the air one. This is the regular one. So we have your 4 air holes on the bottom, and we have 2 NI 200 coils there. And then this is the 6 coil, and these are the only ones that I have here. You can see here you have 1, 2, 3, 4 juice holes. You have 4 massive airflow holes on the bottom. And then you have inside, you have 6 coils. It's 3 on top of another 3. So now let's put this all stuff to the side, and we will actually go over the device itself. So you can see here it does say Smok. Down on the bottom it says TF4. We have our drip tip up here on the top. It's a dual chamber here, so you have your airflow from here, and then you have your actual drip tip right there. Like I said, it is an adjustable airflow on your drip tip. And take it off. It does have dual O-rings. I have had no issues with the O-rings. I have seen some people say that they fall apart. I haven't had any issues with that at all. So now down here on the bottom, it says designed by Smok. Serial number, I have serial number 100. We have our stainless steel, I believe it's stainless steel 510 connection. Threads are nice and smooth. Now this is not adjustable. Then we have 4 massive airflow slots here that are adjustable, and you can see now it just turns around. It does not click in place. So you can, whatever you do on the one, it does it on all the other ones. So you can just keep turning it and keep turning it to get it to the way you want. I prefer to have it somewhere around halfway open unless I'm running the higher 120 wattages. Now, in order to fill this, it's very simple. You'll see up here on the top, there's like a little arrow, and what you're gonna do, it's easier to do this with your drip tip in there. Just kind of press down and swing it open, and you'll see right here it's a little messy. Let me grab a paper towel here. You can see right there in that slot, that's where you're going to fill up your juice. Now if I grab a little, you can take this ring out if you want, and you can see in there there's a massive fill hole, no issues. You can just put this back in here. It just kind of lines up, presses in there, and they do give you an extra one of these. And what's nice about this is it'll accommodate pretty much any type of fill port. This thing is like a silicone, so it kind of stretches to get anything in. You can see I can just take this little screwdriver and push it all the way in, and I've had no problems getting any of my dropper bottles, any way you want to fill it up. Now we'll take it apart here, and you can see here, you're just going to grab it, twist it open. I'm going to put that to the side. Here's your Pyrex glass tank. It just kind of sits in there on an O-ring. Pretty snug in there. It just kind of pushes up in there. We'll put that off to the side. Now here is your single coil RBA deck. Now I do have a coil in here. And we'll take off this little top here. And there is our single coil deck. Now I will show, let me take this cotton out of here. I will show you, I have one complaint with this particular RBA deck, and that is the screw heads are very tiny. Now this is a titanium coil that I have in here, but you can see the screw heads are very tiny, very difficult to trap your leads underneath those screw heads. Now they do have, you can see here on the side, holes for your leads. But if you want to rebuild a temperature coil, you don't want to have that long lead coming all the way down there. So you're going to need to use a smaller gauge wire, like rather a larger gauge, like a 28 gauge, 38 gauge, a 28, 30 gauge, maybe a 26 gauge. I think this is a 28 gauge wire to trap it underneath your screw heads, because you're not going to want to have a temperature coil going down in there. I'm not a big fan of having these kind of things where I have to come and kind of make a right angle to put my coil in there. But again, that's just subjective. It's personally not what I like. But you can see massive juice wells here. And putting your wick on this is nice and simple. You have a giant deck to get tons and tons of e-juice up in here. And all you want to do is when you wick it is just have all of your cotton just kind of sitting across the top there. It finds its way up there, no problem. You want to make sure you have a decent amount of cotton in here. If you don't, you're going to have issues with leaking. Make sure you fill this all up. You don't want to have just a little bit of cotton. Otherwise, when you go to fill it, you're going to put the juice in the top and it's going to come right up this and go right down your airflow hole, and you'll have leaking. So make sure you use plenty of cotton. You won't have any issues or anything like that. Now to take this off, we'll just take this off down here on the bottom, and you can just see the way you have your connection in there. You can see a little bit of e-juice from condensation in there. We'll take that out of there. And you can see in there where you make your nice connection. And these are massive, massive coil heads. You can just take a look at these coil heads. And if we can go ahead, let me go grab like another coil head and we'll just compare it here. So just to give you an idea, this is an Aspire Triton coil head, and these are the coil heads for the Smok. So look at the difference in the size of these coil heads. Massive coil heads, but that's what's giving you such good you know, juice flow and airflow on them. We're going to go ahead and put the nickel coil back in here, just so you get an idea of how well it works. Now to put this on, all you're going to do is, the one thing I'm not a big fan of, you'll see an O-ring in there, and when you put it on, you're just going to have to screw it all together like this, and the top makes connection and just sits in there with the glass. And again, once you fill it up, we'll go ahead and we will fill it up. I'm going to use some Good Life Deadly Sin. Again, just push down and swing it to the side. Take your dropper bottle and fill it up. Now when you want to close this, you're going to swing it all the way through, and you're going to see how there's a little bit of a lip there. Just kind of push down and push it over, and it'll grab in place. Now while we're in the up close and personal, let me show you here. This is the TFR2. This is the dual coil deck. We'll open this up here, and they give you a little bit of cotton, give you a couple of extra coil heads there, some extra screws, some extra O-rings. And we'll go ahead and we'll open this up. You can see 4 massive airflow holes down on the bottom. And it's got your 4 juice wells, 2 on each side. We'll go ahead and open this up. And this to me is a much better design. These are, I actually have 2 stainless steel coils in here, you can see here. So you have 4 massive juice holes, nice deck here. And it's very similar to, you know, any of the other rebuildable decks like a K-Fun. And this one here, you're just going to trap your leads between the screw and the wall. There's like a little lip there. So you can accommodate a decent sized wires in there. You're just going to slide them in there, screw it down and trap them in there, and you'll have no issues. And same thing here, when you wick it, you want to just have, you know, your cotton coming down and get it into that first slot. You can see the 2 different slots. I let it dangle just a little bit. So let's head back up to FaceTime. We'll put this away, and we'll go over all the pros and cons. So that's the up close and personal for the TFv4. Let's take a vape on it. We have the NI200 coil in here. I have it set for 440 degrees on the hard setting here on my X Cube 2. Have to adjust that airflow. I'm not a big fan of having the airflow open up on the top drip tip. We have the airflow down on the bottom about halfway. phenomenal flavor, phenomenal vapor. And their coil heads seem to last forever. I'm going on the 3rd week here with this NI200 coil head, and it's still going strong. Now, one complaint I do have with this X Cube 2, like I said, I have a review coming in the next few days. When you're running it in temperature, it works phenomenally. However, you can't adjust your maximum watts. You're going to set your temperature on this, and it's going to pump all the watts that it can to it until you hit that temperature limit. So you have to kind of adjust it with their preheat settings. They have 4 or 5 different ones, but we'll get into that. We'll take one more vape. Works really well in temperature sensing. One thing I did before I get into the up close, before I get into the pros and cons, I did want to show you this on some devices. I forgot to show it to you in the up close and personal. We have our VT 200 here, DNA 200 from H Cigar. We're going to put this on here just to give you an idea. And you can see there, it doesn't look bad on the device, just a slight bit of overhang. You can see there's a little bit of a gap because, again, this is a 24mm device. But again, if you're not into the 24mm device, they do have the 22mm version coming out in the next couple weeks. We'll go ahead and we'll put this on the EVIC VT. You can see there, a little bit of an overhang, but not much. And a device that I know a lot of people are using, we'll go ahead and we'll put it on the SX Mini M class, which I actually think it looks very good on that. You can see a little bit of a lip there, but not really much, hardly noticeable. I mean, even if you run your finger, you can feel a little bit of an indentation there, but it's not too bad. Okay, so the pros and cons. We'll start off with the cons. First one, it's big. There's no two ways about it. This is a big device. 24.5 millimeters. It's not going to look awesome on some of your different mods. It's just going to completely depend on preference. If you have something larger like this Smok, or if you have a mechanical mod, or if you don't mind the overhang, it's a great device. Now, do keep in mind, I know I've mentioned it a few times, there is a mini version coming out with this. It's going to use all the same coil heads so you can interchange them, but that's going to be a 22mm device. So that option is there. Next con. Kind of subjective, but it eats juice. It really is going to use a tremendous amount of juice. Just to give you an idea, using the 6 coil head, I've gone through 2 tanks, almost 2 tanks of e-liquid making this video. That's how much juice it's going to go through. But that's something, you know, I'm personally willing to sacrifice for a lot of vapor if you're in the mood for that, you know, and a tremendous amount of flavor. But it is going to eat juice, and if you're using those 4 coil, 6 coil heads, especially at the higher wattages, up at 60, 80, 100 watts, you're going to go through your battery quickly. You know, this is a dual 18650 battery, and I've used probably about 60 to 70% of it making this video. So you are going to go through a lot of battery life, you know, running these coils at, you know, 80 and 100 watts. The only other con I would say is, you know, when you're going to fill it, you know, the thing about having to press it down and move it over, I worry about having to press down on my drip tip and sliding it over, that you're putting excess pressure on your O-rings, but it's a little thing. You don't have to. I just find it easier to grab the drip tip rather than try to do it without a drip tip. The only other thing I would say as far as a con is, and it's a subjective con, when you are building on the RBA decks, make sure you use enough cotton. If you don't use enough cotton, you're going to have leaking issues. It's a big thing. I can't stress it enough. Make sure you use enough cotton. I found no matter how much cotton I packed in there, I didn't get any dry hits. But if I didn't put enough cotton, every time I would fill it, because again, it's a top fill, so you're kind of pushing the juice down, and it comes up through those juice flow you know, channels and right out through the air hole. So make sure you're putting enough cotton in there to make it so the juice can't come out through the airflows. But other than that, I really don't have any cons for this device. Now we'll move on to the pros. Let me take one more vape here. pretty much everything else with the device is a pro. I mean, the options that it gives you, no matter what kind of a vapor you are, it's almost like this tank is built for the future, and it's built for what is your mood for the day. You know, are you in the mood for just being a flavor chaser at a low wattage? They've got a coil for you. Are you in the mood for something big with huge clouds and lots of flavor and lots of airflow? They've got a coil for you. Do you want to rebuild your own coils? Well, they've got 3 different decks for you. Me personally, I judge tanks that I'm going to personally purchase on, is there an RBA deck? If there's no RBA available for it, I'm not interested. I don't want to have to spend, you know, $15, $20, $25 for 5 coil heads. Now, these coil heads, I will say, they seem to last forever. You know, going on 3 weeks, all of my coil heads are doing really well. I mean, this NI200, I pretty much have been using this one exclusively, and it's still going really strong. So they last a long time. I just would prefer to make my own coils. I want to be able to, you know, change it up a little bit here and there. So the fact that they're giving you 3 different RBA decks, to me, is a huge plus. Some more pros. The airflow options. You know, you've got 4 massive airflow slots on the bottom. You've got 4 on your drip tip. So whether you want just a little tiny bit of airflow so that you can have, you know, great flavor, or you want a massive amount of airflow, the options are there. And the last pro I'm going to give you is the price. I mean, I think $39.99. I've seen anywhere between $39 and $49 depending on the website you go to. Like I said, Origin Vape is selling it for $39.99. You know, $39.99 for a tank. Some people may say, well, that's a lot of money, but think about what you're getting. You're getting, you know, 3 different coil heads. You're getting an RBA and 2 other coil heads. You're getting an extra glass tank. You're getting a massive device that's going to suit any kind of need you want. So I think that's personally a good price. So, you know, overall, I think this is, I give this device, you know, an A+. Absolutely phenomenal device. I think Smok hit it on the head with this device. So that is my video for today, guys. Hopefully I've helped you out. Hopefully I've taught you a little bit something. If this was a device you were thinking about, hopefully I've given you a little bit more knowledge to make an informed decision. Please do me a favor, hit the like button down on the bottom. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And until next time, happy vaping.